Yeah. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the, I've called it the Kyle Brings the Comedy Thunder and Kelli Brings the Musical Lightning show. Yes, she will be, we do have Kelli Foerster coming up for everyone here who came to see her sing. You unfortunately have to sit through me first. Yes, first of all, I appreciate all of you dropping $5. That was big of you. That was good. It was good. No, I don't even kid about that. It actually is good because I've worked about every minimum wage job available, about all of them. And $5, that's like 5 days work. That's a lot. It's tough. So, I mean, the thing that I have noticed about minimum wage jobs is, though, everyone assumes that you're the dumbest person ever when you work in a minimum wage job. Like, you could walk in with thick-rimmed glasses, you know, you have some book on physics in this hand, you know, Play-Doh in this hand, you set your books down, you go to your coworker, you're like, good news, I'm into Harvard, you know, you guys high-five. He's like, I got into Yale, oh, we're rivals now. And the person who's sitting there, the customer, they would still just be like, this idiot. Oh my God, like this guy's so dumb, probably a high school dropout, what an idiot. You know, but it's good in some ways. It has benefits because people show you their true colors when you're at a minimum wage job. You know, no one feels like they have to fake it for you. Like we all have that friend who's way smarter than us and who's way deeper than us and they call you to hang out and it's almost a burden. You know, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to say some smart stuff. Oh boy, and they're gonna say smart stuff and I'm gonna feel obliged, you know. I mean, I have a friend here tonight actually, he says such amazing things when it comes to music. You know, like he says amazing deep things that are just true about me, he just knows it all, right? And then, you know, he turns to me and I realize I'm supposed to say something out of my stupid face. And so I sit there and I go to him and I'm like, yeah, you know, that's true. You know, music, it's about life, death, the afterlife stuff. That's why songs have bridges in them, bring it all together. You know, and then, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about, and then I go home and dance in the mirror to Kesha, you know, that's what I do. You know, we are who we are. Oh, that song gets me. So, no, it's tough. But I'll give you an example. I was working at a movie theater a while ago, and I was working in concessions. And everyone walks in, and this is the thing that you go through every time when you work concessions. The people sit there and they sit in line for a few minutes, so they've had time to know what they want. They walk up with confidence, and they go, oh, I'll have a large popcorn and I'll have a large drink. You know, that's what I'll have. And I go, okay, $10.50, sir, $10.50. And he goes, oh my gosh, how could it be that much? That is outrageous. How could this have happened? And I find that to be an interesting question. Because by asking that question, you're really telling me one of two things. You're telling me either you can't read, like you saw the signs with the prices clearly labeled, but you were just like, oh, those symbols, I don't know. Or this is what I like more even, that maybe they got to it and they were like, okay, a large drink, that's going to be $5. Okay, large popcorn, $5.50. All right, 5 plus 5 is 10. Then you've got decimals. All right, so you carry the 1, divide by 6. Oh, I'll just let the monkey in his computer do it. It's fine. Like, you know, you never thought about it? It's outrageous. And you would think at these jobs, you would think that the people who are in charge of you, your bosses would understand you more. They would say, you know, hey, this is a complex person. You know, they have some thoughts that go through their head. But that's not true at all. If anything, your bosses are worse. For example, I worked as a vacuum cleaner salesman. When I say I've had every job, I've had every job. And we would have, Nothing, okay. So, when I say I've had every job, I have, and we would have weekly motivational meetings for these vacuum cleaner salesmen, which I don't know why we had to have weekly meetings in the first place. I don't know what he would have said that would have changed week to week. I had no idea when I got into the vacuum cleaner business that it was so fast-paced that I needed to really be concerned at all times about whether Hoover or something was going to be breaking out a new model that week. You know, so he wouldn't say new things every week. He would give us motivational speeches out there, and which were always the same motivational speech, which was interesting. He would get up in front of us all, our boss, and he would say, you know, when you're out there selling vacuum cleaners, a lot like in life, he's like, you know, you're gonna run into walls. And he would tap the wall, you know, just, right, and as if we had no idea what a wall was, you know, as if we were like, oh, that's what that is. Life is so much clearer now. Ah, this is good, I can understand things now. You know, but he wasn't done there. He would say, now when we run into a wall in life, do we keep running into that wall? You know? And he would pause, and he wouldn't go on until someone answered his question, as if we were going to give this real thought. You know, I always wanted to give him an answer that would have required real thought. You know, just like, well, you see, the wall is more solid than my body, so no, I assume I would hurt myself the first time. I definitely wouldn't want to do that again. To complete your metaphor, I don't know if I would. I assume in life I wouldn't see this wall coming, so I would be running full speed. I wouldn't brace myself. No, I would definitely not run into it again, sir. So no, final answer there. But you know, we were so beaten down at this point, all it would be is one person just, no, gotta move on. You know? So, and my favorite part about this is then he would go, no we don't. No, he said, in life what we want to do is we want to go under the wall, over the wall, around the wall. I don't know why under and around were even necessary, really. Like, what am I, in West Germany in the 1940s? Like, in my entire life, I have never had to dig under a wall. Like, I've never run into a wall in life, and then like, oh, what to do here? What to do here? Well, there's over, but it's connected to another wall. No, I don't think that's viable. Under, that would be time-consuming, definitely. Yes, around. But these people just don't stand up to these people, and they have this cult-like status. I mean, there's no better example of this than Greenpeace. I don't know if any of you guys have run into Greenpeace on in your daily lives. They're prevalent in downtown Denver, where I reside. And what they are is they're a group trying to save the planet. But they don't talk to you when they stop you on the street. They don't talk to you like a normal person. You know, they don't come up to you and say, oh, well, sir, you know, we would just like to keep our planet as clean as possible, you know, just like to keep the grass as green as it can be, you know, we'd love if you could help out. You know, that would be a normal way of saying that. But you walk by, and all of a sudden, they just go, sir, baby seals are being raped and the earth is on fire. You're just like, oh my gosh, that is intense. And it's telling how little credibility Greenpeace has that everyone, not just like mean, terrible people, but everyone just walks by. Like everyone's just like, yep, baby seals getting raped, that's what happens. We probably did something to deserve that. You know, I don't know. Stupid, they just balance balls on their nose. They deserve it. Like, it's weird. And they really do have no credibility. Because if you think about it, I've never seen a Greenpeace person where they didn't just have that dirty, you know, they haven't showered in years, you know, they live in their parents' basement, clearly. I mean, you never see a credible person, you know? Like, you would never see this table over here out there for Greenpeace. You know, you never see someone who's like, yes, you know, I have a 9-to-5 job, a very successful career, you know, I do things with my life. I just felt passionately about the planet. So I decided to come here after work, you know? No, it's always people who have no cars, no life, no security whatsoever. It's awful. So when they bother me with stuff that is clearly BS, I feel the need to bother them back. I do it for all of you, so that they won't bother you. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm a good guy like that. Thank you. So what I do is he gives me his spiel, you know, the world is on fire, global warming is coming for our babies, you know. He gives me that, And I go to him every time, and I'm just like, oh, global warming, you know, is that hoax that Al Gore came up with for attention? You know, I really go right for their Jesus figure. I really mess with them right away, cut right at the knees, don't let them get started. And it's funny because this one time, this guy, you could just tell, you know, it was really his Jesus figure, and he was just furious. Like, he just sits there. And at this point, he has a lot of logical things he could say to me. You know, like he could be like, sir, the polar ice caps are melting. That's a clear sign that global warming exists. That's just a statistical fact. I don't know if you just don't know that, but it's true. But no, that's not what he chose to, that's not the route he chose on his magical Greenpeace path. Instead, he went, man, he's like, global warming is a hoax. It's like, haven't you seen Day After Tomorrow? I'm not kidding, that's what he said to me. That's what he said to me. And I had to pause for a little bit, just to soak up the stupid. Like, I had to think about it. Like, did you just do a factual, we were having a factual argument, and you just cited a fictional movie to me. But can you imagine how much easier life would be if that's how arguing worked? You know, like, some girl, she's walking up to her, she's like, yes, I just don't believe in the concept of marriage, you know? I just don't think it's I think it's antiquated, I just don't think it is. Haven't you seen Runaway Bride? Alright, it is a beautiful thing. Julia Roberts had the same concerns, but they were overcome, you know? You don't think that poor boys can get with the rich girls? Haven't you seen Aladdin? Alright, please. Please, folks, now. No, it's funny. With I'm not particularly liberal. I'm not particularly conservative. But the thing that I do find humorous for liberal arguments is a lot of times they have a good basis to start on. They just then take it in an interesting direction that I don't completely understand. You think it's going to make some perfect sense. You know, you think they're going to go and they're going to be like they start out. They go, hey, torture in the Middle East is wrong. They're human beings too. We shouldn't cause them excruciating pain. You know, I think that's bad. And you're like, well, yes, I agree. Excruciating pain in general is bad. Like, I'm on board with that. But then they take an interesting turn where they go, you know, torture doesn't even work. All right? Because when you're in an intense amount of pain, you'll just say whatever you can to make the pain stop. Alright, and then you just pull a lie, and then we don't know anything. And that's why we're in Iraq, and that's why the towers fell, and that's why the world is on fire. Yeah. Like, that's just the sound all liberals make at the end of their argument. Yeah. It's awful. It's like a mating call for them. It's bad. But, so then I'm always baffled by this argument, because I just don't see how they figure. I mean, the U.S. military's budget is huge. Like, they have over $50 million to invest in these sorts of things, you know? Like, do they think really that these scientists, you know, who are researching, you know, like, how far can we push them? You know, how far should we push them? What sort of torture should we use? What mental torture, physical torture, what should we use here? You think this idea never occurred to them? Like, you're going to tell them this argument, and they're going to be like, oh my God, they could lie? Oh boy, this throws a kink in our thinking. Like, oh boy, we never thought of that. Boy, do I feel stupid. Like, no, people think our interrogators just go up to them and they're just like, all right, Ahmed, so you say that the bomb is at the corner of Sandy Ave and Sandy Drive. All right, well, you know, we're not dumb here. You know, we're going to need a pinky promise. All right, sir. Yeah, we don't play that. All right, so okay, we cut off that pinky. Other pinky, all right. Yep, go on your way, sir. Yes, praise Allah indeed. Praise Allah indeed. No, I mean, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. And what I think a lot of these arguments are, is people are just mad at rich white people. You know, there's just a lot of anger out there at rich white people. Which people should be mad at rich white people. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not, like, you totally should be. But the thing is, people don't notice all the terrible things that rich white people do to them. You know, people don't even see it coming. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay, we've all been walking around and seen that outrageously homophobic guy. You know, he just sits around and he's just, oh, there's gay people. Oh, and they're gay. They do gay things. Other gay people, and it makes me mad. You know, just the guy who's just illogically mad. You know, he walks around tense everywhere because there's gay people in the world. And whenever you see that person, like, I don't care if you're with someone who is channeling, like, Elton John and Ellen DeGeneres' spirits combined. Like, if you just go to them and you're like, oh, look at him, you know, I bet you he's gay, you know, I bet you he's gay. They're just like, yeah, he is. Oh, yeah, man, what an idiot, right? Gay people, you don't even realize what you've just done. They just modern day Trojan horsed you. Don't you see? Now, all douchebags, all right, who wear tap-out shirts and hate gay people, they're now a part of you. And you just welcomed them with open arms. You know, you're like, yes, bring that guy in, that guy who hates everyone. Like, come on in, sir. That's awful. Why would you want to do that? And, you know, we do the same thing to black people. It's awful. It's as if we haven't screwed with them enough through slavery, you know. I imagine there were rich guy meetings throughout time, you know. Like, they started off and they were like, you know, I think they're catching on to this slavery thing. Like, they're starting to learn how to read the Bible. I think they know it's not in there, that we should own them. I think they're catching on to us. Dang it, we gotta get a new thing, you know. And then later they were like, you know, I think they're catching on that we're the same amount of person. They're not 3/4 or 2/3 or whatever it was. You know, they're catching on. So now they've done something subtle. You know, they invented the word wigger, you know? And it's outrageous because it's just whenever you see a white person who can't use complete sentences, looks like an idiot, and acts like an idiot, we call him a wigger. And for black people, that's not even that subtle. We changed one letter from the most derogatory term you can call them. Like, I imagine this white guy meeting. It was insane. It was just like, you know, man, guys, I'll tell you what, things are really getting out of control. These black people now, they can have jobs just like us. They can marry our women. They have the same rights. And, just like my grandpappy, I can't say the N-word. Oh, I see that? I'm trained now. I just say the N-word, you know? They were really mad about it. So I think wigger probably serves a dual purpose. You know, like, now rich white guys can just be like, man, I hate niggers. And then the people are like, what was that? And he's like, look at that wigger, that stupid wigger. And the black guy's like, yeah, screw him. Man, I hate that guy. You know, they don't even realize what's happening to them. It's awful. It's awful. And what all of this basically proves is that women run the world, is what this proves. Like, there's no way guys could pull any of this off. You know, that we couldn't pull off plots like this. Our minds just don't think that way. We're not that complex of beings. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's look at this couple right over here. Okay, that man right there, he's drinking a beer, right? He's drinking a beer. Why is he drinking a beer? Because society has told him that to be a man, he must drink beer, and that beer is good. Her, on the other hand, she's got a nice fruity beverage, probably tastes good. Like, you know? And I know what guys are thinking out there. You know, guys out there in the audience, they're getting pissed right now. They're just like, oh, I wasn't fooled. Beer is delicious. Beer is delicious. I love beer. That's ridiculous. Let's look at your argument. Let's break it down. If someone walked up to you and was like, would you rather eat this stalk of wheat? Or would you rather eat this strawberry? Like, what women have done is, women have convinced us we would rather eat a stalk of wheat than a strawberry. That's outrageous. That's not even, you can't even make that argument with a straight face. But all of a sudden, they just use the word manliness. They're just like, oh, well, real men drink beer, you know? And that's why I think probably women are more mad at feminists than men are. You know, whenever you talk to a normal woman, they are really mad at feminists. They hate them, you know? They're just like, what were you guys doing? We had them. Oh my, we had them. Like, they were only drinking beer. They were giving us all of their money. Like, all we had to do was sit at home and pretend to wash a dish. They're too stupid. They don't notice. Just put them back in the cupboard. Oh, we had them. What are you guys doing? Oh, man. So yeah, they're more mad than we are. But after that rant, surprisingly, I do have a girlfriend. I do have a girlfriend, despite my terrible views espoused there. No, and we've been going out now nearly a year and a half. Nearly a year and a half, so it's big time, it's big time. And, you know, she's a wonderful gal, and a very, very religious gal. And it's interesting, I'd never gone out with someone who was religious before. You know, I'd never gone out with someone who's really religious before. And so, you know, from the moment I met her, you know, she was like, you know, I'm all about there, no sex before marriage. No sex before marriage. And it wasn't like some of the girls that you meet at bars in the course of your life, where they're like, no sex before marriage until I take a sip of this beer. But, you know, it's not like that, no sex before marriage. You know, it was like, hey, I have beliefs and I have self-control and all of those things. And I mean, if you look at me, I'm not going to tempt your self-control, you know? It's not like someone's going to sit there and be like, well, I was going to save it for marriage, but with that package, how could I resist? Oh, sir. So, but it's interesting. I didn't know people walk up to me all the time when I tell them this fact, and they're like, man, that must be a bummer. You know, wow, that must be a bummer. It's really not. It's a freeing experience. You know, I didn't realize how much of my mind and how much of my energy was spent thinking about it. You know, even unconsciously. You know, just thinking about sex just constantly. You know, like, am I going to have it? When will I have it? How will I have it? Where will I have it? You know, just all these questions, just crazy all over the place. And now that I know, yesterday I cured AIDS. Like, my mind is clear. Like, I am coming up to the cure for all sorts of things, which is just insane. Because, I mean, if you think about it, we have the wrong group of people being celibate, all right? Like, what do priests really need to do? Like, they have to read from a book and tell people that they sin occasionally? Like, I can do that asleep. You know, like, I could probably, like, go to you right there and just be like, oh, I predicted you lied a little bit. You coveted maybe, I don't know. You know what, overall, Jesus says it's good, it's fine, alright, let's move on. You know, I don't know, in some book he says that, it's fine. You know, they don't need all of their brain power. They don't need to be full-scale thinking on this level. You know, they just don't. But, you know, the people who are trying to cure cancer, and those people, they need all their brain. You know, we should make them take a vow. Because I guarantee you, their brains will be clear. You know, really, the women out there, you know, walking for breast cancer, I mean, really, you need to close your legs for breast cancer. It'll be cured in a month. Like, tops it'll take. Yeah, but the interesting thing about a year and a half is, the long-term relationship, there's certain things that you come up with that problems you didn't foresee. And it's because the people who are in long-term relationships before you lie. Oh, they're terrible. They just tell you all these lies. You know, for example, I had people who are in long-term relationships, and you'd always ask them, you know, you'd say, well, you know, does it get stale ever? You know, I mean, you're making out with the same person all the time. You know, do you ever, like, run out of things? You know, like, it just seems natural. And they're like, oh, no. It's magical. It's magical. Your bodies become one, and your heart's beat is one, and your movements are like a beautiful dance that's intricately choreographed, perfectly one together. You see how my fingers interlock? That's how it is. Oh, it's beautiful. That's ridiculous, okay? I mean, it just doesn't make sense logically. You know, like, as a guy, I'm not saving my smoothest moves for, like, our 25th anniversary. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh, wait till you get to 25, I have quite the maneuver, you know, ready then. Oh, man, that's gonna be awesome. No, I mean, you just go with what your limited base of knowledge, as guys. We go for it and we just try, you know, we just try there. And we're like, oh, I hope this works. So no one ever, you know, really saves anything. I mean, for instance, right now, I'm in a year and a half, and I mean, yes, like a week ago, we were making out. And, I mean, I just started sucking on her hair. I was just running out. I just wanted to know if it would work. I don't know anymore. I'm running out of logical options for things to do. I'm open for suggestions. Like, I just don't know. You know, it's rough. And I mean, and the other problem people always tell you about, and these people, they're always stupid and never tell you the reason. They're just like, oh, you gotta watch out for the wall. You know, you hear about this wall. They're like, when you've been in a relationship long enough, you run into a wall. There's this unforeseen wall. You know, and what that wall really is that wall is honesty. That wall is honesty. Because once you've been going out with someone for a certain amount of time, they don't feel like they have to lie to you anymore. You know, like your first time you kiss, you know, you miss and you like lick her nose and she's like, oh, it was romantic, you know, it was adorable. But after a year, not anymore. You know, for example, my girlfriend now, like I said, we make out a few weeks ago, and the thing with guys when we're making out is it's so intense. I mean, I know that there could be a murder taking place right next to me while we're making out, and I would pretend like I didn't see it. Like, I would just put it out of my mind. I'd be like, nothing's happening over there, you know. It'd be fine in the same room, you know, because this happens all the time. You know, like, I have a dog at my house, and this dog will be making sounds that are just awful, you know, like it sounds like it's going to die, you know, and I just pretend like I don't hear it. Like, it could be dying, and I would not go out there and help it. Like, I pretend like I don't hear it whatsoever. Not at all. So, the thing is about that, though, I lock in, and a lot of my self-worth is put into this, you know. I'm really trying to get intense and just like, she loves this, you know. But for maybe, you know, the first few months or however long, they pretend like they really do. They're like, oh yes, this is the best, you know. But after a year and a half, you know, it's done. I mean, for example, we were making out a few weeks ago, and she goes, and all of a sudden in the middle, she starts laughing. You know, she starts laughing, and in my mind, I go, oh, why are you laughing? And in my mind, what I wanted the answer to be was just like, oh, I'm laughing at all those other women who think they've made out, but they have not tasted your lips and the passion, and all that you bring to the table. Oh, man, it's amazing. It blows my mind. You know, for all women, really. When guys say before they get into relationships, they're like, you know what I value? I just want an honest relationship. Like, I just want an honest relationship. You know, what they mean by that is they want someone to say that they're awesome all the time and for them to think that is true. Like, that's all I mean. No one wants true honesty. Like, after, you know, everyone wants the girl to be like, that was the best. That was the greatest thing ever. Oh my gosh, that blew my world. You know, no one wants the girl to be like, that was the best. You know, and then when they're like, are you sure? Really? That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess thinking back on it, it's been a while since my ex-boyfriend, you know how these things happen. It's always the most recent thing is a stronger emotion. You know, I'd probably have to make out with him. You know, there was that one time with, oh, never mind. No, he's better. You're the second best ever. No one wants that. No one wants that at all. But back to my story. I'm there, and, you know, she's sitting there laughing. You know, oh, why are you laughing? And she goes, oh, this one time in 3rd grade, me and my friend, oh, it was the funniest thing ever, you know? How boring does our makeout session have to get? That it wasn't even like her mind was like, well, yesterday I was doing that. Like, she started out at yesterday and ended up in 3rd grade. Like, that's how long she's been thinking about other things that this has been occurring. No, it's so it's rough. It's rough. No, but you shouldn't blame her. Like, really. I know it seems like I'm trying to portray her as a mean person, but she's not. Like, she still puts up with it. Like, that's something to be said, because I'm just not very good at it. You know, I fully admit, you know, I just don't. I was reading a book recently that said you had to put in 10,000 hours into something before you truly mastered it. You know, I am grossly an apprentice when it comes to this. I'm not even close to out of that stage. You know, I mean, it's probably under 100 hours. Like, 100 hours is a lot of making out. Like, that's intense. So, I mean, I'm bad at it, and I fully admit that, you know, because, I mean, I didn't date that much in high school, which was awkward, and awful,
Because, I mean, if you think about it, the worst thing about it is, it's not the fact that you're not dating a lot or that you haven't had sex, it's when you watch shows like Fox News. You know, and you would think you'd be safe at Fox News. You know, you'd think Fox News would be a good channel to turn to. But they would always be doing reports on teen promiscuity. You know, they'd always be like, oh, these teens are having sex left and right. You know, these teens. And you'd be like, all right, I'm sure that's exaggerated. You know, that can't be that bad. But then they would get into the actual stats and they would be like, oh no, like 99.999999999% of teens are having sex. Actually, everyone but this one lone kid, this lonely giraffe in Westminster, who's holding out, he's turning women away at every turn. Like, wow, he's incredible. You know? And then all of a sudden, Bill O'Reilly tells you you're a patriot. You know, that doesn't help. Alright, it doesn't ease the pain. But no, I don't know. I just had a rough high school experience. Not in terms of I was bullied or, you know, I had a terrible... I just wasn't very nice in high school. Didn't have a lot of friends. So now looking back on it, you know, I have a lot of regrets. You know, a lot of things you want to go back and change. And you can tell you have a lot of regrets in high school. I mean, I think everyone has a few regrets. You know, everyone, it's a time period of your life that's all about regrets. You know, no one looks back and is like, yeah, it's a perfect time, you know? So, you want to go, all right, fair enough. But, you know you have a lot of regrets when you're looking back and you're trying to daydream, you know, because everyone does this from time to time. They daydream back about in high school, and they're like, you know, what if I would have asked that one girl out to prom, and I bet she would have gone with me, and I bet then everyone would have liked me, you know? But really what would have happened is you would have asked her out, she would have said no, everyone would have laughed at you, high school would have been worse. But, you know, these people have the ability to daydream in an unrealistic way. I daydream about high school, but I can't do it in an unrealistic way. Like, I start daydreaming, and then I'm like, no, that wouldn't have happened. You know, that's not how that would have resulted. So I have to come up with these detailed, elaborate dreams to try to get myself into popularity, back in something that I can't change anymore. It's weird, but I have to do it. Like, I can't help myself. So, you know, I mean, I don't have the normal, like, oh, I bet I would have asked that girl to prom and she would have gone with me. Because in my mind, I'm like, no, I would have had to do something to, like, earn this because, you know, I was not nice and she wouldn't have wanted to go with me. You know, I would have had to change her mind somehow. So, I remember one time, this is when I really realized how dark my high school days were. Because I was sitting there and I was daydreaming about high school and I go, man, you know, I think if there would have been a serial rapist at our high school, and I would have stopped this serial rapist personally, like, I think that would have done it. You know, but then I had to play it through my mind, you know, and so there's the serial rapist, and then, of course, there's the one hot girl at your high school that you always had a crush on, that you have to save and you have to come in, right? And in my thing, it was funny because in my thing, I didn't actually become popular afterwards. It was weird. Like, I played it through realistically, and I just became, like, brooding and misunderstood. Because, like, I went through there, and I came in there, and I was such a badass when I went in there, you know? It was like a Claude Van Damme movie, you know? Like, I was in there, and he had a knife, but I was unafraid, you know? And I went in there and I unarmed him and, you know. But the next day at school, it was like, I was like, you know, a good person wouldn't take credit for this. You know, a good person wouldn't take credit for, you know, starting this rape stuff. So I just was really quiet and brooding. And so, I mean, I had this elaborate, as you can tell, very elaborate, like 30-minute daydream. And all I did was I went from unpopular to misunderstood. And that's where you really know your high school career needed a lot of work. So, alright guys, that is me. That is my time. I leave you on that awkward note. We got Kelli Foerster coming up here in a few minutes. Give her a few minutes to set up. And thank you very much for coming out. And thank you a lot for listening, everyone.
it's risky to end on the big thing.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Homecoming, I'm coming, my sweet mistake. Summer's over, hope it's not too late. I meant you, I couldn't let you in. Take it back to the sidewalk where we met and carved out our names. Do you remember that? I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Did Speed of Sound. This is currently the favorite one that I have right now. It's fairly new. Why do I feel so free?